Number 3. The implosion. June 2023. A small submersible called the Titan descended toward the wreck of the Titanic, almost 4 kilometers down, with 5 people inside. To understand what happened to them, you have to understand pressure. At the surface, the air presses on you at 1 atmosphere and you do not feel it. But every 10 meters you go down adds another atmosphere on top. Down at the Titanic, the water was squeezing that little sub with a force of nearly 400 atmospheres. Picture the full weight of the Eiffel Tower pressing down on something the size of a dinner plate. That is the load on every patch of the hull, from every direction, constantly. The hull is the only thing holding it back. And then it didn't. When a vessel fails at that depth, it does not spring a leak. It collapses. The walls slam inward faster than the speed of sound, the whole cabin crushed from the size of a small truck to a mangled ball of debris in a couple of milliseconds. A pain signal traveling from your body to your brain takes around 100 times longer than that implosion took. So the human mind, biologically, could not keep up. Whatever was left happened long after the people themselves were already gone. They did not feel it. They did not even finish the thought they were having. One instant they were talking in a cramped little cabin, and the next there was no cabin and no next. It is the fastest and the kindest death on this list, and it should tell you exactly what the deep ocean is. A place squeezing everything we send into it, every second, waiting for one flaw. Number 2. The blood that turned to foam. November 1983. The North Sea, on a drilling rig called the Byford Dolphin. This one involves a kind of work most people have never heard of, saturation diving. The idea is this: when you work for weeks at crushing depths you cannot surface each day because your body needs to adjust slowly to the pressure both ways. So, the divers live under pressure. They stay sealed in chambers on the ship, pressurized to match the seabed, for weeks at a time. Their blood, their tissue, everything is saturated with gas at that high pressure. A sealed tube ferries them down to the job and back without ever changing it. It is brilliant, and when it works, it is safe. What kills you is if that pressure changes all at once. That night, 4 divers were in the chamber system at about 9 atmospheres of pressure, and through one catastrophic mistake, a worker opened a clamp connecting the chambers before the system had been brought back down to normal. In a fraction of a second, the pressure dropped from 9 atmospheres to 1. Now here is the physics, and this is the horror of it. Under that much pressure for that long, helium, which replaces nitrogen at those extreme depths, dissolves invisibly into your blood, the way carbon dioxide sits dissolved and silent in a sealed bottle of soda. Keep the pressure on, it stays calm. Take the pressure away in an instant, and it erupts out of solution all at once. It is the shaken soda can, cracked open. Except this was happening inside 4 human bodies, in every vein at the same time. For 3 of the divers, death was instant, as their blood flashed into foam. The 4th diver was standing right next to the partly open clamp, and the rushing pressure forced his body through a gap only around 60 centimeters wide. A grown man through a slot smaller than a briefcase, in an eye blink. He never felt it either. It was that fast. Investigators found that the forces were so extreme that it remains one of the most severe decompression accidents ever recorded, studied by divers to this day, and sit with why it is so unsettling. There was no monster, no explosion in the way we picture one. It was pressure, a simple opened clamp, and the same fizzy chemistry in a can of soda turned lethal in less than a second. Number 1. The pipe. This is the one that stays with me because a man survived it and had to carry it. February 2022. Off the coast of Trinidad, 5 commercial divers were doing maintenance on an underwater pipeline, a big steel pipe about 30 inches across, resting on the seabed, and they were caught by something even seasoned divers underestimate, a thing called delta P. Delta P just means a difference in pressure across an opening, and it is one of the quietest killers in all of underwater work. Here is why. If a sealed pipe has low pressure inside, and you are in the high pressure water outside, and a gap opens between the two, the water tears from the high side to the low side to equalize, with unbelievable force. And if you are near it, you are not pushed. You are pulled in. Divers have a saying, the delta P does not care how strong you are. The suction can be thousands of pounds. It can pull a grown person into a pipe narrower than their own shoulders. And it did. 4 of the 5 divers were ripped off their feet and sucked into the pipeline in seconds. And this is where the physics stops and the human part begins. One of them, a man named Christopher Boodram, was pulled in, knocked out, and then woke up, inside the pipe, deep underwater, in total darkness. He was alive, in a small pocket of air trapped at the top of the flooded pipe, soaked in oil and blood, lying against the bodies of the men he had just been working beside. Most people would have stopped there. He did not. In the pitch black, unable to see his own hands, he started to crawl. He felt his way along the inside of that pipe, over and past his dead colleagues, for what turned into hours, following the steel toward any chance of an opening, breathing whatever thin air he could find in the pockets along the way. And somehow, he made it far enough to be pulled out alive, the only one of the 5 to come out. The other 4 could not be reached in time, and the way the rescue was handled became a national scandal. But think about what that man was awake for. Fully conscious, underwater, inside a pipe on the ocean floor, in absolute darkness, knowing exactly where he was, exactly what had happened to his friends, and choosing to keep moving through it anyway. The implosions and the decompression are horrifying, but they were over in an instant. This one was slow, and he felt all of it. That is what painful really means.